What's up, guys? Back for another Honkai style video. Before we get into the should you summon video for Black Swan, I want to say one thing. If you watched this video and you've also watched my Kafka should you summon, which should have been posted earlier today, I'm hoping, unless I don't get this video up, which I hope I do because I said I'd get this video up in a certain amount of time. But regardless of that, right? Let me know which one you like more, and then the Robin should you summon will look more like whatever one you voted for. I'll probably do a poll on a community post. Pretty much the Black Swan one will be the edited version with gameplay in the background, and then the Kafka one is just me reading from the website with all the info on it. Let me know which one you guys like more. Hopefully it'll be the edited one once I've gotten better at making everything look nice, because I know some things were not centered and all that. But let's get into the video. So, Black Swan is a 5-star Windhility character. Very cool character. I will say her animations are on the higher tiers for me. Her ult's beautiful, all that good stuff, but ults and animations can only go so far. How good is the character? Because at the end of the day, if the character has best animations in the game, but they're borderline unusable, you're probably not going to want to summon, right? So Black Swan actually has a good basic attack, and when I say good, it means it actually does something other than just do damage. Her basic attack is deals 1 damage equal to 60% of her attack to a single target enemy, with a 65% base chance to inflict 1 stack of Arcana on the target. Additionally, when attacking a target that suffers from Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, or Shock, there is a respectively 65% base chance of inflicting an extra stack of Arcana on the target. Then Black Swan's skill deals 1 damage equal to 90% of her attack to a single target enemy and adjacent targets. It's a blast skill. W there. At the same time, there's a 100% base chance to inflict 1 stack of Arcana on the target enemy and the adjacent targets. Additionally, there's a 100% base chance of reducing the defense of the target enemy and adjacent targets by 20.8%, lasting for 3 turns. 3 turns is pretty damn good. This lets her get 2 skill points and then use 1, so you're good to go. She's skill point positive. In fact, you don't need to always use the skill. If you're using her on, like, let's say Acheron teams, her basic attack will proc Arcana, and then you're good to go. You don't really have to use her skill, but her skill is very good for the defense lower. Then her ultimate inflicts Epiphany, I hope I'm saying that right, on all enemies for 2 turns. This is a full-on AoE attack. While affected with Epiphany, enemies take 25% increased damage in their turn. Additionally, if enemies are also infected with Arcana, they are considered to be simultaneously affected by Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, and Shock. After Arcana causes damage at the start of each turn, its stacks are not reset, meaning you used to get more damage, right? This non-reset effect of Arcana stacks can be triggered up to 1 time for the turn of Epiphany, and the target counts reset when it is applied again, which unfortunately is not super realistic. It takes way too long to get her ult back unless you're just like having like the whole juice set up, Tingya and Ho-Ho, and light cones that give energy, but it still is pretty nice that it gives you an extra turn to keep your stacks, so you end up doing more damage. And then also it deals wind damage equal to 120% of her attack. Then her talent is every time an enemy target receives dot at the start of each turn, there's a 65% base chance to be inflicted with 1 stack of Arcana. While affected with Arcana, enemy targets receive wind dot equal to 240 of Black Swan's attack at the start of each turn. Each stack of Arcana increases the damage multiplier by 12%. The Arcana resets to 1 stack, and you can stack it up to 50 times. So pretty much when the damage goes off, it gets reset. That's why when you use your ultimate and it keeps the stack, you'll be doing a bunch of damage, and you'll have all your stacks from last turn still applied, so you can stack them up even closer to 50. Then, only when Arcana causes damage at the start of the enemy turn, Black Swan triggers additional effects based on the number of Arcana stacks inflicted on the target. When there are 3 or more Arcana stacks, deals 1 damage equal to 180% of Black Swan's attack to adjacent targets with a 65% base chance of inflicting 1 stack of Arcana on adjacent targets. This will be the animation when it's like the enemy's turn, and then you'll see damage afflicting the enemies on the left and right. If you've seen Black Swan in gameplay before, you've probably seen it. Then, when there are 7 or more, it enables the current dot dealt this time to ignore 20% of the targets and adjacent targets' defense, which pretty much just means more damage, right? pretty big kit for Black Swan. She'd be cooking a lot. Then her technique is, after this technique is used, there's a 150 base chance for each enemy to be inflicted with 1 stack of Arcana at the start of the next battle. For each successful application, inflicts another stack on the same target. This process repeats until Arcana fails to be inflicted on the target. For each successive application of Arcana on the target, its base chance of success is equal to 50% of the base chance of the previous successful infliction of Arcana. Pretty much, you have a 50% chance, and then every time you get the 50% chance, it's lowered by 50% again until it's going to be so low that you're just not going to get it, and then the fight starts, right? Then her bonus traces are increases this unit's damage by an amount equal to 60% of the effect hit rate up to a maximum damage increase of 72%. Then her next one is when the enemy target enters battle, there's a 65% base chance for it to be inflicted with 1 stack of Arcana. Each time an enemy target receives dot during the single attack by an ally, there's a 65% base chance to be inflicted with Arcana. The max number of stacks that can be inflicted during one single attack is 3. Then her last bonus trace is after using the skill to attack a single target enemy that has Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, or Shock. Each of these debuffs respectively has a 65% base chance to inflict an extra stack of Arcana. Then her stat bonuses are 28% to attack, 14.4% to wind damage, and 10% effect hit rate. This is a big W because unlike certain characters who give themselves HP or defense when they're DPS, Black Swan can use all this. She uses attack because she's a dot character and scales off attack. She uses wind because she's a wind character. And then effect hit rate is good to get 1 effect hit rate to actually inflict the debuffs. And when she has, I cannot remember though, it'll be on the screen though, W editing me, a certain amount of effect hit rate, then she will get the maximum 72% damage boost, which is nice because you get 10% from this, which can help you out. Then her dupes, while I never recommend going for dupes, her E1 is especially strong. While Black Swan is active in battle, enemies inflicted with Wind Shear, Bleed, Burn, or Shock will have their corresponding wind, physical, fire, or lightning res respectively reduced by 25%. This means that you can use her as a support, basically, kind of like Pela, and you just do more damage. Obviously, if you are using an imaginary quantum character, it will not work, but I mean, hey, it is what it is, right? Then her second dupe, when an enemy target inflicted with Arcana is defeated, there's a 100% base chance of inflicting 6 stacks of Arcana on adjacent targets. That's kind of crazy. Pretty much everyone's having Arcana going crazy, right? As always, 3 and 5 are just ultimate skill and talent, so we'll skip those. 4 is while in the ult state, enemy targets have their effect edge reduced by 10%, and Black Swan regenerates 8 energy at the start of each target's turns, or when they are defeated. This energy regeneration effect can only trigger up to 1 time while the ult lasts. The trigger count is reset when you get Epiphany, aka ult again. So this pretty much just helps her get some more energy, so she gets her ult back faster. And then her last dupe, which has a very pretty art, hopefully it's on the screen. When an enemy target gets attacked by Black Swan's allies, Black Swan has a 65% base chance to inflict 1 stack of Arcana on the target. Every time Black Swan inflicts Arcana on an enemy target, there's a 50% chance to additionally increase the number of Arcana stacks, this time by 1. AKA, you just get more stacks for existing at that point, right? Overall, E1 and E2 are the good ones. Shocker, I know. Particularly E1 for the res reduction on enemies. Black Swan is a really strong and versatile dot/debuff unit, thanks to the fact that she lowers defense and has a blast version of that on her skill, which is easily available. You can run her as support for someone like, let's say, Dr. Ratio, who needs debuffs, and I mean, every DPS likes defense lower, right? And Black Swan is also a sub DPS because Arcana actually hits pretty damn hard. She excels very well in Pure Fiction, even though we haven't had a dot one in a minute, and that can be rather unfortunate. When dot Pure Fiction comes out, she absolutely cooks, right? Black Swan can also be used on dot team, go figure, even though that team hasn't had much love. I personally like using her on the Acheron team. I know I could just use Pela. My Black Swan is E0S1, but I'd really just like using Black Swan. She's a fun character to use. Arcana does a bunch of damage and has saved me cycles before by activating right when the enemy has the last attack and then killing the enemy, and then we're good to go. Overall, I recommend, if you like the character, obviously you should summon, and If you're looking for another dot character, let's say you have Kafka already and you're using Sampo, I love Sampo. Black Swan is a very, very good upgrade. Very, very noticeable. I used to run Sampo all the time. Black Swan, it's a no-brainer, right? If you're looking for a debuffing character, she can work. Obviously, if you're trying to run her with Acheron, I'd probably recommend summoning for the character that's out right now, because Jakku is pretty much tailor-made for Acheron, but Black Swan can work if you'd rather have her instead. I know that a lot of people just like running their favorites, and as someone who runs Black Swan and Acheron together, it gets the job done. Otherwise, it's pretty much just niche use when you want to get some more damage or the defense lowering. Nothing too crazy. So I recommend, if you aren't a huge fan of the character, you end up skipping, because there are other alternatives such as Pela for the general debuffing. And then I guess if there's Dot, it's kind of a must summon. I feel like she could easily get replaced with a crazier Dot enable, because unlike Kafka, she's not really enabling the other Dot. She's just doing more Dot herself and then boosting her own Arcana damage based off the dots. And I feel like if we get a really, really strong Dot unit, I'd probably run Kafka and the new Dot unit over Black Swan and the new unit, right? But anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of Black Swan, what you think of this editing style, and of course, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.